Welcome to the good, the bad and the ugly. Where the mighty have fallen, the good get ugly, and there's no such thing as bad publicity. This time we profile 5 larger-than-life celebrities who know how to get themselves noticed. Dolly Parton supposedly once said, "If I see it sagging, bagging or dragging, I'm gonna nip it, tuck it and suck it." She seems to have lived by the credo, if you've got it, flaunt it. And if you haven't got it, well, go out and get it.
If I hadn't been born a woman, I'd have been a drag queen because I love all the glitter and the glare and the flamboyance. And, you know, I know how the drag queens love to get it all on. And I love, even as a woman, I look like a drag queen as a woman. I'm just a little over the top, but I just love that.
Under the wig and all that makeup, who can tell whether or not she's blonde? But one thing's for sure, Dolly Parton certainly ain't dumb. Although she's probably best known as the singer of country hits like Jolene and 9 to 5, she's been even more successful as a songwriter. After growing up one of 12 children in a dirt-poor family in Tennessee, she found her way to Nashville and made her mark writing songs for other well-known artists such as Hank Williams Jr. and Skeeter Davis. The story goes that in the mid-1970s, Elvis Presley wanted to cover her song I Will Always Love You. But when Dolly found out that she would have to sign over half the publishing rights on the deal, she turned the offer down. When Whitney Houston recorded the song in 1992, it allegedly earned Dolly a massive $6 million in royalties and is still ranked number 9 on the biggest selling singles of all time list. After 40 years in the business, she still had the magic touch, landing an Oscar nomination for her theme song for the 2005 film Transamerica.
And Duncan Tucker, who wrote and directed it, wanted me to write the song, and I kicked it around for a while, and I thought, well, I don't know if it's going to come or not, because I don't know if I'll have the time. And then one morning I woke up and I got it. It just all hit me, and so I wrote it down. And so next thing I know, I was nominated. But it's still just as exciting.
On the eve of her 60th birthday, she was still up for anything.
Who's 60? I'm not 60. I said I'm 60. I didn't say 60. S-E-X-T-Y. I wake up with new dreams all the time, so you never get too old to dream or fantasize or be creative.
Despite being married to Carl Dean since the age of 18, she was quoted as saying that one of her fantasies involved having sex with Keith Urban or a hot, petite young woman. 2 years later, she was out on the road promoting her new single and album, Backwards Barbie, and offering a unique insight into the motivation behind the singer who once said of herself, "I look just like the girl next door, if you happen to live next to an amusement park."
You know, I grew up poor and ragged, just a simple country girl, and I wanted to be pretty more than anything in the world, like Barbie or the models in the Fredericks catalog. So it's like just a backwards Barbie, too much makeup, too much hair, backwards Barbie in a push-up bra and heels, but the goods are all there and looking artificial but being real. So it's really just about, you know, a country girl wanting to be pretty.
Another big-hitting celebrity who hit the ground running at 60 was Rocky and Rambo star Sylvester Stallone, who counts Governator and fellow beefcake Arnold Schwarzenegger amongst his closest friends.
Well, first of all, I wanted to just say that Sly has been a huge inspiration to me.
He also got a glowing reference from Uber entrepreneur Donald Trump.
He's been a friend of mine for a long time, and he's a really unique guy. And he's something very special. He's someone very special, and Melania and I are just happy to be here with him. It's a big event. It's going to be my big event in about a week and a half.
Oh, really?
The big 6-0. So I know how he feels. I'm not sure if he feels happy or not, but he looks great, and he's a great guy.
Fitting his birthday celebrations around premieres and interviews for the staggering 6th installment of the Rocky franchise, he wasn't ready to be put out to pasture just yet.
Like it says in the poster, it's not over till it's over. It's about how do you get rid of that, as Rocky says, stuff in the basement. There's still stuff down there. There's still something burning.
The boy from Queens first stood out as the star of the 1970 porno Party at Kitty and Studs. But then the 24-year-old actor was rather hard up at the time and struggling to find parts in more reputable fare. After scoring a few more small roles over the next 5 years, he resorted to writing parts for himself. His first script, Lords of the Flatbush, brought him his first legitimate starring role, alongside Happy Days' Henry Winkler. 2 years later, he struck gold with his story about a plucky loan shark enforcer who thinks he can go the distance in the ring. Rocky was the smash hit of '76 and earned him Oscar nominations for Best Screenplay and Best Actor. Over the course of a 30-year acting career, the man with the bulging pecs and deep voice has become synonymous with his battling alter ego, who has revisited the multiplex 5 times since. Through him, the character Rocky Balboa has etched his name so deeply into the public consciousness that he's been awarded his own corner in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History.
I want to thank the Smithsonian for this extraordinary gift to me, and gift to my children, and gift to all the Rockies out there that have supported the idea that you can maybe not be born with all the assets in the world and maybe not be the fastest, the strongest, or the most handsome, but through perseverance, you can achieve goals. They may not be world-class goals, but they're personal goals.
Sly's own personal battle began when forceps severed one of his facial nerves, leaving part of his face paralyzed. His drooping face and slurred speech made things hard for him at school, where he got into trouble for starting fights. His facial challenges also hampered his early days as an actor. But breaking through with Rocky in 1976 was as much about his own battling underdog spirit as that of his on-screen character. Since then, he hasn't been backwards in coming forwards on the romance front, boasting high-profile love affairs with the likes of Angie Everhart, Janice Dickinson, Naomi Campbell, and a marriage to Red Sonja Amazon Bridget Nielsen, whom he married in 1985 and divorced in 1987. Sly waited another 10 years before making another commitment to former model and presenter Jennifer Flavin, who helped host Sly's reality TV show, The Contender. She also acted as a guinea pig for his fitness and health food company, InStone.
I wanted women to know that, for example, she's had 3 children, she runs her own company, and she doesn't work out that much, but she can stay very, very healthy and lean by taking certain supplements.
Presumably, InStone's dietary supplements were not to be confused with the human growth hormone supplements that were discovered in Sly's bag at Sydney Airport late in 2006, when he arrived to promote the last film in the Rocky franchise. After being convicted on 1 count of importing a banned substance, he apologized, claiming he hadn't realized the muscle-building hormone was banned in Australia. He had to keep his strength up for his next major physical challenge. At the age of 61, he was preparing to climb back into the headband and flak jacket to reprise his role as the Vietnam vet with a vendetta.
I don't know how that happened. I swear to God, I swear. You know, you sit there and you draw it up on a blueprint, and it just seems to have touched a nerve. So I'm just eternally grateful. I think maybe if you just happen to fall on a subject that really gets people emotionally, that's the key. And luckily, I tripped across those things.
In Rambo 4, the craggy eponymous hero battled a battalion of Burmese soldiers before taking on the skeptics.
Yeah. You know, because the skepticism was incredible. I mean, I was, you know, it was a big joke, and I understand it, you know, because it really is. It's quite a stretch. But I think if nothing else, it proves that, you know, if you can't kind of feel like you're young at heart, you really want to do it, don't give up.
Just like Sly Stallone, Katie Price knows all about hanging in there. Formerly known as Jordan, she reportedly lost her lucrative topless job in The Sun after the British tabloid implemented a natural beauty policy, declaring its infamous page 3 a silicone-free zone. It was just one in a long line of setbacks that have continually failed to daunt the exuberance of the ex-glamour model from Brighton. In 1998, she attempted to cross over from modelling to acting, but struck out at an audition for Baywatch. She then bravely took a stab at politics and ran as a candidate in Britain's 2001 general election under the slogan "For a bigger and better future." As part of her election campaign, she promised free breast implants, increases on nudist beaches, and a ban on parking tickets. She polled 1.78% of the by-election vote before moving on to her next endeavour, having a baby with Sunderland soccer star Dwight Yorke. The couple split up while Jordan was pregnant with her son Harvey, who was tragically born blind and autistic. The same year, she was treated for cancer on her finger, but even these major hurdles did nothing to slow her down. Next, she was monkeying around the jungle on the reality show I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, with her future mate, Australian pop singer Peter Andre. 6 months later, she was pregnant again. Despite always putting a brave face on in public, she has since admitted things were a little tough.
Obviously, when I met Pete, I already had Harvey. And then 6 months into our relationship, we got engaged, and then I fell pregnant with Junior. Had Junior, and suffered really bad with postnatal depression. And, you know, there's lots of celebrities out there who don't want to talk about their problems.
But then getting things off her chest has never been a problem for Katie, who went from being branded the most unpopular woman in the UK to being named Mother of the Year in 2006.
You know, one thing with me, I've had my boobs done, I've had lipo done, and I had Botox. Obviously, I have it now because I'm pregnant. And what's the big deal? I don't know why people hide the fact if they've had surgery, so what? And I am going to get my boobs done again after this baby because they're quite old now. I've had 3 kids. They've dropped that way a bit. And I want a new pair.
She's even known for being painfully upfront about her literary output that includes 2 autobiographies, 2 novels and several series of children's books.
Obviously, I don't actually write the book. And obviously with my novels, I say like the stories that I want, and we do each chapter at a time. We go back, read through it, and I put everything that I want in it. Because I'm not going to sit and say, you know, you've got a writer who puts in, say like they'd say a line, oh, it was a sunny day and the daffodils were there and they were blooming, or whatever. They're the bits that I wouldn't say, because that's, I'm not going to sit and say, oh yeah, I even write that detail, because I don't. But the main stories is like what I want.
What with giving birth to her 3rd child, Princess Tiami Crystal Esther, a reality TV show in the US, releasing a duets album with Peter, and launching her own line of lingerie, there simply isn't enough time left over to write her own novels. Although, like any other very busy British celebrity, she can make room in her diary for the odd launch.
Actually, on the way in the carriage, I was so embarrassed because, like, the police were stopping the traffic, and I'm like, oh my God, this probably only happens to the Queen, and like to window shop along Oxford Street in a carriage is the first.
Despite her obvious similarities to the Queen, Katie and her pop star husband more regularly draw comparisons with fellow celebrity couple Posh and Becks, especially since embarking on their mission to conquer the US. However, Katie is quick to dismiss the association.
No one's compared to me and Pete. David and Victor are completely different to us, and good luck to them. He's a good sportsman, she's good at whatever she does, and me and Pete, we're completely different. We do our things, and I'm so sick to death of being compared to them because we're so opposite.
And as far as Katie is concerned, there are plenty more books left in her and ghostwriter Rebecca Farnsworth yet.
You name it. Imagine things in this office. Drawing pin, there you go. A Katie Price drawing pin. You know, there's just so much you can do. And there's so much I do want to do.
Mr. Olympia 1980, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
When he moved to America in the late 60s, he was dubbed the Austrian Oak. These days, Arnold Schwarzenegger is more commonly known as the Governator, the nickname blending his real-life role as the Governor of California with his most famous big-screen role as the Terminator. According to fellow action man Sylvester Stallone, playing the hero off-screen is a much tougher gig.
It's something I couldn't ever do. I could never relate to. I think it's very dangerous waters because it's, he may be very successful at it. All I know is that in that particular field, you can't yell action and cut and, you know, take 2, take 3. You know, it's real. It's real. So the price right there is a very, very high price to pay. And I personally think that, you know, sometimes actors should remain actors.
However, it wasn't the first time that Arnie had ignored the naysayers. 5 years after winning an unprecedented 6 straight Mr. Olympia titles, he decided to come back out of retirement and won the competition again in 1980 with barely any training. Then, despite speaking very little English and with scarcely any recognised acting talent, the former farm boy set his sights on becoming a movie star, and through films like The Terminator, Total Recall, Predator and True Lies, somehow ended up becoming one of the highest grossing stars in Hollywood.
What's he good at? Oh my God, I think basically, I mean, he's amazing for so many. He has done more movies and less dialogue than possibly any actor besides Lassie. I think you have to go like, even the dog's going, ah! I said something. Ah!
Known for letting his guns and muscle do the talking, few fans would have laid a bet on their taciturn hero taking on the verbal gymnastics of politics.
Good morning, everybody.
Although he may have dropped a hint by marrying TV journalist Maria Shriver, whose uncle was John F. Kennedy. In 2003, he threw his hat into the ring in a recall race to govern America's richest state and immediately showed that he knew how to convert his on-screen popularity into real-life votes with a landslide victory.
I enter this office beholden to no one except you, my fellow citizens.
And within 2 months of taking office, the transformation from Terminator to Governator appeared complete as he spoke at an AIDS Foundation fundraiser.
The recall came about because of people power. I was voted in as the next governor of the state because of people power. And that's the kind of power that the people have of this organization of children affected by AIDS Foundation. It's people power. This is why you have this tremendous impact on thousands of children.
In 2005, he took his fight against evil forces to Hong Kong, where he joined Jackie Chan in an attempt to end video piracy in Asia.
I think the more often that we bring it up and deal with it, the better it is. And the more awareness we bring to that subject, the better it is. And this is why Jackie and I got together and did this PSA, because what is important is, and I think the ability that I have is that we can penetrate and go through all the other stuff, penetrate and go directly to the people of China or go directly to the people of Hong Kong.
His political achievements so far have included introducing the nation's first cap on greenhouse emissions, and his determination to lead by example in tackling global warming has seen him adapt one of his Hummers to run on hydrogen and install solar panels to heat his home. All the white knight heroics have helped to counterbalance some of the less savoury aspects of Arnie's CV, which have included admitted steroid use and several allegations of sexual misconduct. These days, having reportedly amassed a fortune of around $800 million, he can afford to forego his governor's salary.
I've made plenty of money in my life, luckily through my movie business and through real estate investments and other wise investments, that now I can go and be a public servant and not think about my income and all that, to just think about how can I make California a richer state and how can I make California a more efficient state.
Just like Dolly, Sylvester and Arnie, Bette Midler wasn't thinking about putting her feet up when she made it to a pensionable age.
I love the fact that she's celebrating her 60th birthday in high style, saying, I'm 60 and I'm great.
To mark her arrival at the gates of her 7th decade, the Divine Miss M decided to kick up her heels at a Halloween gala in New York. Tens of her closest celebrity chums showed up in suitably outlandish costumes to toast the diva who brought new meaning to the word loud, courtesy of her brash and bawdy humour and equally outrageous outfits.
It's long been an ambition of Trudy's
and Sting's
to be the wind beneath Bet's wings.
So bring on the fanfare.
Bring on the fiddlers. Let's raise our glasses to the divine Bette Midler!
Meanwhile, the birthday girl who started out singing and telling jokes in gay bathhouses in the early 70s was humbly bigging up the arrival of one of her heroes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am so pleased to present to you. It gives me such pleasure to welcome one of the greatest entertainers in the world. I am so proud to count him as a friend, and to tell you the truth, I can never thank him enough for being the entertainer here tonight. He is unbelievably talented, unbelievably generous, and unbelievably here. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Elton John.
Clearly, she'd learned a thing or two from her equally flamboyant friend over the years about how to use her attention-grabbing talents to raise awareness and money for good causes.
Every time I see him, I kiss him. And I wish him well, because he's a real shining light in our lives, and we adore him.
Having attended many of his legendary annual AIDS benefits, Bette decided to combine her 60th birthday party with raising funds for her New York restoration project. And she took time out from the celebrations to Sprout, the non-profit group that reclaims and develops under-resourced open areas in the city.
I've had a wonderful career, but I must say that the work that I do in parks and gardens for the citizens of New York is the best work that I've ever done. It's a tremendous, it just gives you so much heart. You know, you clean it and it's clean. You know, instant satisfaction. And you give people a park and suddenly they're there.
Even 70s tennis brat John McEnroe got into the spirit of giving.
He said it's a great cause, and we're New Yorkers, and Bette's a great friend of ours, and she's a wonderful advocate for the city, and plus it's a fun night.
Just like the city she was determined to give back to the people, Bathhouse Betty had become a national treasure. As well as camping it up in high-octane comedies like Ruthless People, Outrageous Fortune, Hocus Pocus and First Wives Club, she'd proved she could also make 'em cry with her Oscar-nominated performance as a drug-addled rock singer in The Rose and as a former child star in the 1988 tearjerker Beaches, which also spawned her #1 hit Wind Beneath My Wings, winning her third Grammy Award. In 2004, at the age of 57, she proved she could still power her way through a 2.5-hour live extravaganza. Her all-singing, all-dancing Kiss My Brass tour played to sell-out crowds across the US and Australia. The following year, she reunited with her original accompanist, Barry Manilow, for a much more sedate tribute to blues legend Peggy Lee that debuted at #10 on the Billboard charts.
She was also possibly the coolest performer that ever walked. I mean, she did almost nothing. And as someone who does a good deal, or almost too much, I was in complete admiration of her, because she can do volumes, speak volumes with just the raise of an eyebrow.
But just when it looked like she might be about to start aging gracefully, she turned the tempo up again by hiring 20 dancing girls and a 13-piece band to back her 2-year run at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, which started in February 2008. By the time the final curtain comes down on Bette Midler, The Showgirl Must Go On, the Divine Miss M will have reportedly pocketed a larger-than-life $120 million.